These are our two best cutter players in America. And it is Ninja Whip to start off, so this is going to be our first matchup. Both really big damage characters at close range. Ninja, a character who has kunai, can really play defensively with those, but can't really stay away from you forever with that. They have no hit stun. Kunai functionally fox lasers. A good command grab from Bitphone. And we're going to be in a rough spot here. The corner against Whip is a bad place to be. And Ruby you'll see make a lot of use of the Cherry Blossom move, that one, Blossom Storm, I believe it's called. Also, you'll see them do a lot of dive kick into Cherry Blossom, very hard to punish since it will immediately jump Ninja off the ground. You can't really get there in time to punish.
I can't take him seriously
does not
for
quite
mouse.
go to the top of the animation, but it does cover the rest of it, and it's very fast and has 2 hits. Ooh. Bone manages to slap them out of that Blossom Storm startup, but not until they had barely any health left, and Ruby will take game 1 with the Ninja.
Oh, I can't take him seriously for that mouse with the mouse ears.
Alright, so we'll see what the counter pick is here. Definitely a matchup where counter picks can be very important. We have two players who play a lot of different characters and have very flexible play styles, really. They can do a lot of different things. I wonder if we see the cutter pick here, or if Phone sticks with the whip. It will be whip still for now. This is interesting, because I know Phone's been going more towards cutter of late. He's definitely been believing more in cutter as a character. Thinks that character's really good. But instead is going with the whip here. Also possibly not wanting to go cutter against the other really good cutter player who will know the ins and outs of that character pretty well. I'm a bit surprised at the counter pick as well. I feel like Whip gets a little more off of platforms than Ninja does. Phone also someone who, this is an oddly specific thing, but Phone's someone who likes to use air camping but use it aggressively. He'll kind of float over your pressure, but he'll do it at a range where you don't know if you're ever safe to throw out a button. And then all of a sudden he's fast falling on top of you with like a whip jab, a whip like jump down B. And now you found yourself in the corner and you're in a bad situation. Oh, good dash attack under there from Ruby. But they are losing here in this game too. Good spacing from Phone here. And for any Smash players in the chat, Whip is a character who very much functions like a Martha or Lucina. Really tries to space you out at the very end of his sword range, or in this case his whip range, and really struggles if you can get right in his face, but other than that, very, very, very strong in the mid-range. And Phone with a lead here, but Ninja does so much damage, this is certainly not over. Oh, good DI up and double jump there. Going all the way as high as he can go to get out of that combo, and Phone takes game 2.
They just kill each other.
Yep, this is definitely a bit of a slugfest matchup. These two are going to go in and hit each other a lot. You'll see them just camp in the air for a moment to find a spot to go hit the other person, and then they'll go do it again. This is not really a zoning matchup at all. Not a defensive matchup whatsoever. And Ninja, despite having the kunai, you know, it's a really effective anti-zoning tool, but it's not really a tool for zoning against rushdown characters yourself.
Yeah, it's like Fox Laser.
Yep.
Just do damage.
And it functions really very similarly in the sense of how it's used in neutral, how it's used, you know, to force approaches without really forcing it to be right away.
It's a little different because this is an HP-based game. Fox Laser,
Well, yeah,
have to hit him after
that's the biggest difference.
You can finish a match with the kunai, though. You can't finish a match with the laser.
Yep. That's definitely the biggest difference. I think I would say it functions very similarly in concept earlier on in games, but definitely the fact that it can kill makes endgame scenarios very, very different. Because yeah, imagine fighting Fox in stamina mode. Ninja is also a character where general opinions of the character have gone a little bit down over time. We still all think he's good. But initial impressions of this game were that Ninja was among the best characters, and opinions of him have fallen off just a bit. I think he's probably somewhere in the realm of like 9th or 10th on the tier list. Has some really absurd damage. Oh no! Aww.
Ruby.
Right, reset. Just reset the whole game. We're not playing. This game does not count. You have to reset this game. Yeah.
God dang it. Dang it, Ruby!
Ruby, if you're watching, please just use grab to kill the streamer with cutter.
Dang it, Ruby.
There are too many boomerangs.
Why have to boomerang?
Dang it, Ruby.
We'll get back into this one as soon as possible here. So, there's actually Ruby switching to cutter. Again, these are our two best cutter players in North America, and they also both have other characters. We saw the Ninja and Whip, of course. But switching to cutter on Gardens. This is a good cutter stage, not one of the best ones. Cutter's best stages are Jam Bastion and Butter Building. I don't think we've seen Butter Building on stream a single time today, actually. But for those of you who are new to this game, Butter Building is basically one long, the ground at the bottom, and then one long platform on top that reaches almost the whole way. And you have to run all the way off to the side to run off of it. The reason cutter is good on that stage is that if you can get sort of to whatever height your opponent is not at, you can throw charged boomerangs very quickly off the screen and have them turn back onto the screen and pressure your opponent from anywhere. So you can do very similar things in this stage, just to a lesser extent, being above and below the platforms. A little slow on that. You can actually punish that, because the way shield pushback in this game works is that if you drop shield, you stop taking shield pushback. So if you time your punish really, really well, you can actually stop your shield pushback before it happens, and then punish a move like Hyper Cutter, or Final Cutter rather. So the Cutter Dash Attack's coming out here. Cutter Dash Attack, actually one of the best up-close buttons in the game for a character who's mostly a zoner. Cutter Dash Attack comes out in frame 4, making it, I believe, the actual fastest button in the game, other than command grabs.
Wait, what's the fastest button in the game?
Frame 4 Cutter Dash Attack, I think. There's a chance I'm wrong about this, but I don't know of any move that is faster than that. I know Water Dash is frame 5, and Beetle Jab is frame 5. I think that other than command grabs, frame 4 is the fastest button.
Huh.
And the charge cutter coming back will take game 3, and Ruby goes up 2-1.
That's pretty dominant.
So yeah, they looked in complete control with the cutter there. I wonder if we see Phone switch to his own cutter, or if we see more of the Whip. Maybe even the Ninja. These two actually play extremely similar characters. Phone was trying to learn Ninja himself for a while.
It's definitely going to stay cutter. By the looks at it, he should cutter even more. Based on how that game went.
Wait, is it cutter whip again, or the cutter mirror?
Cutter Dittos?
Oh boy. It's very possible. I can't see the CSS, but that's very possible. On Bubbly? Okay. Well, that's definitely a cutter stage. And here it is. This is the Cutter Ditto. So this is the only time you'll ever really see this happen in a North American bracket, is with these two playing. We did get one new Cutter player near the end of the season, but I don't think he's here today. Now this matchup is an experience. I've barely ever seen it. But the thing about Cutter, so these boomerangs, that both the uncharged and the charged ones, they are controllable at all times. Every moment that they're on the screen, you can press and hold up or down to control every single cutter that's out at once. So that's super cool, and it's very good for the cutter, but it's also very hard to control in a matchup where you're trying to keep track of the opponents as well. And Phone just going off in this corner situation here.
Phone's destroying him.
And from fighting both of these two's cutters, I think the thing I would say is that Ruby is probably the better zoner and Phone the better scramble player up close. And so Phone did a really good job of forcing the situation onto Ruby, making them block some mix-ups, and they just weren't able to do it.
Yo, Phone getting the
Phone
business.
will take game 3, or 4 rather.
Phone
So
literally
really
just
good
went in,
stuff
killed him.
by Phone with his own cutter, and Ruby, we'll see if they switch back to the Ninja, maybe even go over to Staff, something like that. You never know.
Yeah, Phone seems really aggressive with the zoner.
Yeah, he's a much more aggressive cutter player in general. And cutter, not a pure zoner the way someone like Bomb or Magalore is. Definitely has the ability to run at you with that. The jab is pretty fast. I don't remember what frame exactly. I think it's 7, but I'm not sure. And the dash attack, as I mentioned, frame 4. And you can use those in combination with uncharged boomerangs to create a lot of really fast pressure that your opponent has to think about really quickly. Cutter also has one of those dive kicks that you'll see from a few characters in this game. Parasol, really probably the best one, but you won't see any Parasol today because I'm commentating and Xander's not here. But a lot of characters have dive kicks like that, and Cutter and Parasols are the best ones for doing tick throw setups. You can quickly dive kick on someone's shield and grab them, and it's not a true combo, they're not in block stun, but it is very difficult to get out, especially because this game does not have a buffer. Oh, we're going over to Jam Bastion. This is a good counter pick from Ruby. I'm assuming this is still a cutter ditto if they're picking the stage.
No. Ninja, when I saw it.
Oh, really? Okay. This is a very strong stage for cutter, but it's specifically a very strong stage to zone with cutter rather than to be super aggressive with the character. So this is very interesting. We'll see if Phone can handle this and outzone Ruby's Ninja. Or if he'll just try to go in. Which is definitely something he's capable of doing. That's another thing Cutter gets on the stage. Jab completely safe to go for at all times if you're not fighting Water, who has the 8B to get up there. Because your jab finisher will take you all the way up to the top platform, so even if it gets blocked, you are not unsafe. Oh, really good play there from Phone, throwing the Hypercutter and then holding shield for the dive kick, waiting for the Hypercutter to come back and punish. And now we see Cutter taking control on Jam Bastion the way the character can.
The Phone's going in again.
Going aggressive with the dash attacks. And Ruby gonna try to outzone, but damage.
Oh.
This is a bad situation for Ninja.
Yo.
Ruby in trouble.
Phone's
Phone
cutter's
will
cool.
take out Ruby's Ninja, and he'll move on to top 8 winner.